let's take a look at 185, guys. I mean, how interesting this just became. And here's my prediction, okay? Here's what I believe. What I believe is our very clear number one contender, Du Plessis, will remain a very clear number one contender in the minds of the fellow middleweights. That narrative is already out there. That is what currently exists in our sport. I mean, we're 12 hours into this news, but that is what currently exists. Du Plessis can't make the date. We're going to go down the rankings. We found Sean Strickland, who we can rely on. We've solved that day's problem. But simultaneously, we've moved Paulo Costa to put him on a card in October that, by the way, is not a main event, but it's important to somebody. Important to somebody that match happens. We've been told in the past that Chimaev's next match, if it's in fact at middleweight and he makes the commitment to stay at middleweight, will be a number one contenders match. That's what we've been told. That has never been flinched on, even though the opponents have changed. Even with the opponents changing, there has been one constant, which is whoever it is, as long as Chimaev beats him. And I'm just sharing that for you. What do you do if you're Jared Cannonier? I mean, right, we had that rumor. We all believe that to be true, that Jared Cannonier was going to be the opponent for Chimaev. Whether that was accurate or not, or that rumor, or that got disputed, we don't really have to know. We still believed it. So what do you do with somebody like Jared Cannonier? He deserves credit for that. If he was willing to do it, he deserves credit. He's a top-ranked guy. He's a former number one contender. Went 25 minutes with the champion of the world. I mean, not for nothing. He matters very much. As a matter of fact, he defeated Sean Strickland, who is now getting the shot to go and fight for the belt. Like, Jared Cannonier's spot, and it absolutely matters. But he hasn't said anything. He hasn't said a word. You got up-and-comers. You got guys like Bo Nickel, just for example. So, we got a pretty good division there. Got a pretty competitive in terms of argument. Who should it be? I mean, we haven't even gotten down to the X's and O's of Paulo Costa and Chimaev, which, by the way, are fascinating. I can't think of a harder match for Chimaev. And one thing we haven't seen anybody do to Paulo Costa, and we've given guys a chance. We put Yoel Romero comes to mind. We put top wrestlers in there. We haven't seen anybody go out and take Paulo Costa down and keep him there. That's been a blueprint and a game plan of several opponents. None of them did it. So let's just say that Chimaev goes out and fights the way that we so often see Chimaev fight. I mean, that's going to be something very different. Going to be holding down the biggest and strongest guy that he's ever been in there with. The X's and O's are just fascinating. That can be tomorrow's conversation. It is currently a belief, 12 hours in, that whatever happens between Sean and Izzy, Du Plessis is there waiting for him. Well, that's today's belief. But as we get closer to Chimaev versus Paulo Costa, we're going to start thinking that should be the number one contenders match. Oh, and by the way, as we're having that argument, if one of the middleweights would see an opportunity here and set their sights fully on Du Plessis, you could have a completely different conversation. I mean, if somebody turns their and does not stand back and accept that we're all going to have to sit and wait because someone's got a boo-boo and can't make a date, and we got to give it to him down the road. I mean, it's ridiculous, and we don't see it very often, but we do see it a lot. Someone should be going after him full steam. If he's got the golden ticket of number one contender, you should be going full steam. And there is a major opportunity to get the match, by the way, and take that golden ticket off him. Major opportunity. I am not convinced in the least that because he was a number one contender for August, guys, I told you before he fought Whitaker, I told you a million times. And this is what I told you. That match has never been named a number one contenders match. I'm talking about Du Plessis versus Whitaker. A million times I came and told you. You all say it is, you all believe it is, but it's never been said. And it shouldn't be said. You're not going to find a number one contender in July to go and fight the champ in August. That's not the way this is done. I told you a million times. I said, you have no idea after the bludgeoning that Du Plessis and Whitaker do to each other, it's not reasonable to expect that one of them can go on. Every single piece and lead-in I did going into that fight, I didn't do it all, right? Robert Whitaker did, sure as hell didn't help. But every piece, I was very praising of the fight before and after. But I did tell you that. You're not going to get a guy that competes in July to come back for a 25-minute situation in August. And it turns out that we're right. And it came out of nowhere, and that seems like a real grudge. But there was a press conference 4 months ago that Sean Strickland was at and Adesanya was at, and they weren't scheduled to fight each other, but they went after each other like cats and dogs. As a matter of fact, they were on the same card. Sean was scheduled to take on Alex. Izzy was getting ready to take on Jared. But Izzy and Sean get into it in a way, and maybe you forgot that somebody's going to revive that. You're going to see that real soon. You're getting real excited for Sean versus Izzy. I'm just sharing that with you. And middleweights have a massive opportunity right now. There is no guarantees of this Du Plessis business. There just isn't. There isn't a guarantee that Izzy's going to be champion when he gets done with Sean. I mean, I'm just sharing. Things change really fast. You can start to position yourself, or you can sit and wait. You can sit and wait for that phone to ring. Every now and then it does. You can be active or you can be proactive. It's up to you.